Council, May 28th, and we will start off with a roll call.
Chair Linda Lopez.
Here.
Vice Chair Rafael Avendano. Councilmember Laura Kaplan.
Here.
Councilmember Beatrice Cerrillo. Councilmember Mary Martinez. Councilmember Dale Miller.
Here.
Councilmember Everardo Rodriguez.
Here.
Councilmember Esperanza Vasquez. Youth Member Diane Zarmeño. And then alternate Youth Member Jose Rodriguez.
Okay, thank you, Irving. If I talk like this, can you hear me okay? I don't feel like it's on very well. Oh.
Yeah, the closer, the better.
Yeah, bring the mic closer.
All right, thank you. So at this time on the agenda, we have public comment. If anyone wishes to make a comment, you need to fill out that little slip that's on the back table, and you have 2 minutes to speak to any item that's not on our agenda tonight. If it's on the agenda, okay. Are you filling something out?
Yes.
Is it on the agenda?
No.
Okay, good.
Can I finish filling it out later? I just wanted to say hi, actually.
Okay, if you'd like to go up to that podium, and there's a mic, and you have
All right.
2 minutes. Thank you.
I don't know if Tom.
Josh, is it Josh?
Josh Griffith? Yes.
Griffith, okay.
Sorry about the rush. We just had a function at the school. I'm the new principal at Fair Oaks Elementary Community School. And
Okay.
I'd like to say I'm in the neighborhood. I've been here this year, and I'd like to invite any and all of you to come visit sometime. We're doing a lot of great things. Mary Martinez is our family, the community school coordinator. I'm going to agree with that. We just had a great big reading banquet for a lot of kids and parents. We did a lot of reading, and we had some awards and dinner and that sort of thing. So I'm just finishing cleaning up, and just want to say glad to be here and come visit Fair Oaks Community School anytime. We have Second Harvest Food Distribution. We're an on-demand site now where we have a facility to serve food to those who need it at any time. Well, during the day mostly, and anytime you can come by or call, we'll set it up for you. We have all sorts of great community resources. So just want to let you know I'm here, and that's about it. Anything else I should add? Just Mary? No, nothing? Okay, anyway, glad to be here.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Heather Peters.
Hi, this must be the day for introductions because I'm Heather Peters and I'm new with the County Department of Housing. I'll be adding to the staff there. You may have already met my counterpart, Janet Stone. She's staying on, and we're adding because Supervisor Slocum and the rest of the Board of Supervisors has been very committed to providing more affordable housing and has provided the staffing to bring the North Fair Oaks Community Plan and many other things in the county off the paper and onto the streets. So I just wanted to say hello and let you know that I hope to see you soon and be working with you soon.
All right, thank you, Heather. Thank you. Okay, we have approval of minutes from April 23rd. And I'll give you a couple of minutes because I hope everyone's like looking at these before the meeting. Irving spends a lot of time sending us everything. So you should all be able to download or read these, all the materials. Just kind of helps things move quicker. Okay. Would someone like to start the motion?
I'll motion that we approve the minutes as written.
Okay, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay, okay, all those in favor of the minutes of April 23rd, say aye. Any opposed? Oh, we missed it. Okay, the motion carries. Oh, hi Beatrice, we just finished the minutes. Okay. Okay, so next on the agenda is the report on the traffic and circulation concerns related to the Waverly Apartment Project. And I don't, Joe, did you want to say something before we start our discussion, or did you want, I mean, you're welcome to say something if you'd like, otherwise I'll just go into, we all have like that matrix of some of the issues that you already reported on at the last, not the last meeting, but the
Yeah, so
previous.
my plan, if it works for everybody, was prior to my presentation on the parking regulation modification proposals. I understand, I think it was probably about 3 months back where I presented on the Southern Park community. We asked for input from the community council. The community council requested that we set aside a future meeting for formalizing that input. So my plan was to just go ahead and, prior to jumping into the parking regulations, invite comments from the council that they had on the Southern Park traffic circulation. So
Okay.
I think this Southern Park, Waverly Apartments can go separate, independent from that first. Understanding that that may lead to some additional questions that you may have as I accept your comments on the Southern Park.
Okay, so I think actually, though, we have, the council members got the whole picture, so which includes the parking issues and some of the beautification and identification issues. So I think what I would prefer to do actually is just to go through this recommendation. And each one is pretty self-explanatory on what the issue, what the request was, the location, what your department's response was, and then we'll take it from there. So let's see how far we get
Sure. And
doing it that way.
I can put these recommendations
Oh, that'd be great.
on the screen actually.
That'd be great.
That'd be
Thank you.
helpful.
Yes.
So this was just a recap of the issues that we had discussed, and
Oh,
I
good.
think we have your memo here. What may be helpful with this as well is if you, depending on what we're talking about, there are also some pictures attached here, so we could kind of scroll forward. But, whoops. But again, this is where we'd like to make sure that the council is able to provide their input so that we can take those that input into consideration before we make a formal recommendation to the board.
Okay. Then I would like to just jump right into it and go to number 7 and 8. And that speaks to the entry neighborhoods, entry gates, neighborhood street signs. And you have here under proposed alternative that the neighborhood, under notes column, that community must apply and fund. So I didn't quite, that's the first time I heard that when speaking about that issue. Can you please tell me what that means?
Sure. Sure. So what San Mateo County does is the Public Works Department, it manages regulatory signs. If there are any discretionary signs, and we do occasionally get requests for signs such as Neighborhood Watch, the policy is any discretionary signs would be at the cost of the community if they were approved. So that also applies to speed bumps, for example. We consider that a discretionary item. There's a speed bump formalized program where if you qualify, you can get on a waiting list, but it's not necessarily something that the county is pushing forward. It's a discretionary thing that the neighborhood is requesting. So all discretionary applications, there's a cost associated with that, and that would be at the cost of the community.
Okay, and because when you look at number 9, directional signage, number 9, that was something that neighborhood requested, but they're not being asked to apply and fund it.
Correct, because when we took a look
So
at...
what's the difference?
Yeah, so when we took a look at the signing in and around the area, and we had a discussion on that, we recognized that there were some issues regarding properly directing people into the community, especially if you were doing business there. So that was an item where we thought, as we looked at it, that the request really was for a betterment of traffic circulation, and so it wasn't purely a discretionary neighborhood request. And so that's why on this one, we went forward, agreed to do the signage improvements. I think if you may recall, part of the issues were how do you make that turn off of Fifth Avenue onto the Fifth Avenue frontage road? Is there adequate notice for vehicles driving down the primary part of Fifth Avenue? And I think we could all agree that as you look at that, there probably really wasn't. And people don't really don't have a sense of going over the overpass, so we wanted to maybe better direct that route as well. So from our perspective, these were all things where the signage could have been improved and to better get the traffic to circulate through the neighborhood in the way that we wanted. So that's different than, from our perspective, neighborhood street signs, discretionary requests for bollards, for chicanes, for streets, things such as that.
Okay, I think I need to say something very briefly here. The Selby Park is a neighborhood in North Fair Oaks, and the Mental Health Association proposed to build a housing apartment project for mentally ill tenants rather, and we went through months and months of community hearings and discussion back and forth with that neighborhood. And I thought that, and what came out of that were a number of issues, including the need for signage and curbing that would prevent cars from cutting through the neighborhood, cut through traffic. What came out of those months and months of meeting and discussion were the other issues that were affecting that neighborhood. And so as a result of that, this document has not only some of the proposals directly related to the construction site, but also it includes some of the issues that the neighborhood brought up. And it seems to me that the issues that the county is going to work on is very minimum, and the issues that the neighborhood proposed to make things right with the neighborhood is hardly nothing. And it's being imposed on the neighborhood to come up with funding and apply and all of this. So I'm not really, it's very disappointing to me. On one hand, I do like where you see certain things that are going to happen, like paint the curb red. and the signage. But some of the other elements of this document, I thought that Public Works would step forward and actually commit to doing more. I've said my 2 cents.
Do we have any idea of the costs involved? I don't know what the proposal entailed specifically, but with regard to the community signs, was there any type of sign? Is there a type of sign that's standard? Do we know anything about costs? I don't know if there's a
No, I mean, so,
organization that-
yeah, so those aren't really standard for us. A ballpark figure is that a sign installation is usually going to cost you about $500 per sign. And so that's for setting the post and installing the sign. So it really kind of depends. A lot of it depends on the sizing of the signs. So when we talk about $500 per sign, that's probably a typical, not oversized sign that you might see in the neighborhood, which would come off of a single post, be 7 feet high, maybe be about the size of a speed limit sign. Specialized signs can be more expensive, but I don't think anybody's really interested in oversized specialized signs. So signs in general, probably about $500 per sign. Other work really depends. I don't know that, so if we go back towards the entry gates, we typically, it costs us typically about $5,000 per corner when we reconstruct sidewalks for access ramps. So if you're talking about constructing curbs that are larger and more extensive than a typical sidewalk access ramp, then you're looking at costs that would be something in excess of that.
Any other comments from council?
Yeah, I do have a question. I remember that there was an issue with item number 11 about the Samaritan House parking that would be shared with the that their in essence their parking lot could be utilized as a parking place for the neighbors. And I remember that there was an issue about talking directly with Samaritan House and getting approval from them, or sort of an agreement that they were okay to share the parking lot.
Right, and so my recollection of where we landed on that, it's slightly different than what you're, only slightly, but from what you see here is, basically, the Samaritan House has a parking lot. The county doesn't really enter into agreements with property owners about how, potential for sharing a lot such as that. So ultimately, if there were an agreement that was formed, that would be one that somehow would have to be between the Samaritan House and perhaps the businesses that are looking to house some of their employee parking over there. That said, San Mateo County, at the last meeting we talked about, we'd be more than happy to somehow assist in that process, understanding that it's not going to be our agreement, because really we're talking about the property owners, their employees, and we're talking about a private lot. So we're talking about the way a business is managed and a private structure, but we'd be more than happy to, if we could help the process move along, provide you information, probably even participate in the meetings, understanding that it's not our agreement. The agreement needs to really be brokered between two separate parties.
Thank you. Just another comment in that regard, that also I think that same parking lot is shared by some sort of a religious congregation that they also have a facility there, and a new secondhand store. So, if that ever happens, to carry on a discussion with them about their sharing their parking lot, it would be nice to also get involved those other two businesses.
Sure, and conceivably, I don't think there's a canned answer as to what that agreement might look like. It might be because there are other uses, that there could be theoretically an arrangement that's Monday through Thursday, but not Friday. To me, that would still be a benefit for the community, as it would still essentially open up that area for the parking for the patrons of the businesses. I will, speaking to this, one thing that I had observed and that we hadn't really talked about very much, I think we touched on it briefly, but it was never really part of the list of issues that we had talked about, is that at the frontage road of Fifth Avenue, just before it narrows down, there's a stretch probably of about 120 feet long that has red curb paint. So it's just set up as a merge area. To me, if you take a closer look at that, that could easily be some additional parking for the area. And I think there would be some real benefits there. It's a lot longer than I thought that it was. And I don't have the measurements with me, but I did roughly pace it off. So I think that's an area that could be made available for parking. The only impact that it has is one business. Essentially, they would just have to turn in the opposite direction. They'd have to turn right instead of left to get out. But that, it's basically one small parking lot. So that's something that we can present to you down the road. But I think when we talk about a parking shortfall, that seems like an obvious place where you can latch onto some parking that could be helpful.
I think that was mentioned, Joe, but then it was set aside because of the other alternatives like the bridge parking, the overpass parking, and possibly parking across the street. And also the fact that the apartment building was going to have their own parking lot. And so, they had a very good argument that looking at the number of tenants and the number of spaces, it would accommodate, the tenants there. But the concern, or not the concern, but I remember we did in one of our discussions talk about that. But I thought we had opted to keep the red curb, keep that in place with the red curb to follow down Waverly, because there was only going to be one entrance and exit on that frontage road.
Well, I think this is something that we could still present to you.
That's
but
what I remember. It's been a while.
And forgive me, because my recollection of last week sometimes is a little sketchy,
I know.
and this was longer than that ago. But I think when it was brought up, my thinking on it was that I really didn't realize how long that length was. And so after the meeting, I went out there and measured it, and I thought it was probably about 35 or 40 feet in length. And given the fact that a parking spot typically takes up about 20 feet in length, that there really wasn't going to be much benefit in that. It would amount to 1 or 2 parking spaces. But out of that meeting, I went out there, I took a look at it. It is a lot longer than I thought it was, and so I think there really is a potential for some benefits there. Again, just as we roll into these other issues, if we're going to do any other changes in parking or propose any changes in parking with North Fair Oaks, we're certainly going to talk to the neighbors. We're certainly going to talk to the council. I would just say that this is something that's probably worth having a little bit more discussion on. And what might happen is if it works for everybody, if it seems like it's a benefit for the general community, and if everybody supports it, that I think there's a real possibility of some additional parking there, which I think would be a benefit.
That's fine. Any other questions? Oh,
First of all, is there an HOA? SLB HOA that it says? It says SLB HOA. Is there one? A homeowner association?
Oh, no.
There isn't one.
No, it was.
Oh, I'm asking, it says the Selby HOA to negotiate, and I wondered, was there an actual entity called the Selby Homeowner Association? I didn't recall that there was.
No, I don't think there is.
Okay,
So.
it's just a euphemism. Okay, so the reason I asked, because getting back, connecting that with the street neighborhood street signs, I was thinking if there was an actual entity that could negotiate on its own behalf, whether I was going to ask whether there were any funds available for grants for that type of thing that might be available. But given that there's not really an entity here, I think it makes it a little bit more difficult. So just.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, well,
Okay, any other questions from council?
No, I had a
And-
comment that maybe
Yeah.
there's some Measure 8 funds that we set aside for entry signs. So they're entry signs, I don't know. Maybe they could slip that in. Sounds like $1,000 or something.
It was either entry signs or bumps, so we, the neighborhood said, oh, entry signs, right? Forget the bumps, because the traffic stats didn't justify having.
right, so there's a specific policy
No,
on.
and
Yeah.
that was clear, we understood
Mhm.
that. Okay. Are there any comments from the public on this? No. Okay. All right. So if there's no other comments from, or no other questions from council, this is on our agenda for action. My only concern before we take that next step, I would actually like to see 7 and 8 pulled off of the list. And that would be a separate project. Because that's the one, of all the other smaller projects, that's the one project that this neighborhood was passionately supporting. So everything else to me looks, fine, but I would actually like to see those 7 and 8 taken off the list. Yes, yes. So if someone, I would like to entertain a motion going further on this.
Through the chair, if I might, one potential suggestion with regard to 7 and 8 might be to frame a recommendation that would include a recommendation that the county investigate possible funding options, and then whoever the deciding body might be on that, whether it's the Department of Public Works or the Board of Supervisors, I'm not sure which, but you could make that recommendation and they could take it into consideration.
Okay, so rather than amend it, just to add to it. Okay, thank you, Melissa.
And otherwise, we're being asked to just say that these things are.
Yeah, we're asking for your feedback.
Right,
So,
right.
the process is we're going to ask the community immediately next to a proposal for feedback. We're going to ask the council for feedback. We want to be able to make sure that we have all that feedback so that we can make an informed decision when we approach our Board of Supervisors. And I think just to kind of reiterate one of the things we had talked about, and I don't know that that changes anything here, but one of the things we had talked about as far as a potential location for some neighborhood signs that certainly wouldn't be an issue would be you've got your sidewalk, you've got what used to be a planter strip, I presume. It's covered with concrete. Certainly that's a location that Public Works wouldn't have any objections to as far as signs, understanding that we still have the funding issue.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, I will move that we recommend Public Works go forward with this plan as outlined, including the items that indicate getting more information, such as the red curb issue, and also to include on the entry gates 7 and 8 item that it be further investigated what potential funding sources and options there might be for assisting this community with those neighborhood signs.
Okay, I think I got it. Is there a second to Laura's motion?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, so the motion is that we recommend that Public Works go forward with the plan as outlined, including items that will need additional information, In regards to item number 7 and 8, look at potential funding options to assist the neighborhood in that effort. We have a motion on the floor. We have a second. Any further discussion? No? Okay. All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? No. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Joe, for your time.
Okay, well, with that, I think we'll roll right into the parking issues.
Oh, okay. So let's see, so we're going to talk now about, oh yeah, there's a number of them, right? Parking regulation modifications for 2601 Spring, Douglas Avenue, Spring Street, 2929 Flood Avenue, 2938 Crocker Avenue, and Semicircular Road. Okay, Joe.
Okay, so to begin with, I'd like to just kind of talk about the process as it has been, and then we can talk about essentially the adjustment to the process, which is that we're now asking the North Fair Oaks Community Council for their input as well as the neighbors. So basically, we're just kind of branching out. I think you'll see that some of these proposals are quite minor. So we'd continue to invite you on feedback on which things you do want us to bring to you. I think the default right now is if we receive any parking proposal modification, that we would bring that to you. Probably not individually as they come in, but probably as a group as we are here. So the process, the way it works right now, is that a property owner can request to the Department of Public Works that the parking immediately in front of their property be modified. When we get a request like that, Public Works will have their staff review that request and see if it makes sense from a technical and engineering perspective. In addition to that, if in fact we agree that it makes reasonable sense, we take it to the next level, which is contacting neighbors within 300-foot radius of this particular site, asking them for feedback, recording their feedback, taking their feedback into consideration, and then at that point in time, making a recommendation to the board if we continue to believe that the modification makes sense, or if there are objections and essentially there are a lot of issues with that site. At that point in time, we might just drop the request, notify the property owner who made the request in the first place that we wouldn't be moving the process forward. So what we're looking at as far as a modified process is essentially all these same steps that you have above, but in addition to this, after we solicit feedback from the neighbors, coming to your council and also requesting feedback from your council as well. I see it potentially as going through the process and doing the neighborhood solicitation first so that we could inform the council the feedback that we're getting from those folks in the immediate area. But there's flexibility on essentially when we're getting our feedback, whether that be a simultaneous process or if it be staggered the way I'm thinking of it right now. Obviously, the downside to staggered is it just takes a little bit longer for the process to move forward. Okay, next slide. So here are the 6 requests that are on the table. We have 6 different locations. Generally, what you'll see on a few of these is that essentially the request is to formalize something that really on the street already exists. And a little background on that is oftentimes we'll find an area that has red curb paint. We'll go ahead and check our records. Any parking modification restriction needs to be ordained by the Board of Supervisors. Sometimes we look back, we can't find a record. So, gosh, it's painted red. Don't know if the property owner painted it red. Don't know if Public Works painted it red many years ago. We know it's red. It's been functioning that way. But without an ordinance, technically that restriction doesn't exist. So any parking restriction, regulation, modification does need to go to the Board of Supervisors. Several of what we've got on the table here are essentially restrictions that are on the ground. They're already effectively in place. So the first location where we have a slew of proposals is here on Douglas and on Spring Street. So item number one.
Joe, excuse me.
Yes.
Can we turn that a little bit so our council members can
Yes,
see it?
absolutely. Tell me when I'm in the right spot.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry, Ellie.
So this is just a quick overview drawing. 3 yellow zones, which are loading zones, 1 red zone, generally from 8 to 35 feet. And we've got some pictures on the next slide, which can give you a little better picture of what we're talking about. So here are, we've highlighted in yellow, essentially where the loading zone requests are and where the no parking zone requests are. Again, the way our process works is that it must be the adjacent property owner who's putting forward the request. If you go to the next slide, we can actually see what it looks like right now. So loading zone request, it's already striped out that way. Here's a request for no parking, already striped out that way. If you can look forward a little bit, you see a yellow marked painted curb. This request includes 1 new loading zone or 1 loading zone that is on Spring Street that is not currently marked out that way. If you go to the next slide, we can talk about it a little bit. So we've taken a look at it. We believe that the requests are reasonable. The facility, I believe there's a dance studio at that location. And so the 1 additional loading zone over and above what's there now would just provide a little bit more drop-off and pickup. The way it currently works, as in many of the North Fair Oaks areas, obviously where there's a shortage of parking, is you can have a car that's sitting there all day. When we went ahead and we notified the property owners in the general area of the request, and it's a 350-foot radius, so it actually kind of hits some parallel streets if the blocks aren't deep enough, is we did get 1 objection, and the comment in that objection was that there was just a lack of general parking in the area, and they were concerned with turning a normal parking spot into a loading zone. But understanding that their business, basically it's a business there, from Public Works perspective, we thought that the request for a loading zone was reasonable. So around the corner over here at First and Flood Avenue, there's a request for a formalized no parking zone. You can see it's already marked red right through here, and that's what they're requesting. We look at that and we actually see that it makes a whole lot of sense from the perspective of a driveway coming out on a curve. If a car is parked particularly close to the driveway, it can be difficult to see. So we think from purely a sight distance perspective, that additional 4 feet of red zone does make sense. That's, again, just an overhead. When we inquired about this, there were 2 neighbors that objected. It was the same comment, basically lack of general parking in the area. Although if you look back at to the picture, this 4 feet of red zone, I don't think it affects any parking spot. It just creates a little bit more spacing between the actual driveway and where that first car can park. So we don't necessarily agree that that has any impact on parking. The next one was on Crocker Avenue. There was a request for a 30-minute time-limited zone. Again, there's just kind of an overview. We'll go to the next slide and just talk about it a little bit.
What's the business?
So the business here is, I should have put it on the summary, but let me see if I did or not. So I'm going to apologize. I believe it is an auto repair business at that location. Actually, if you back up one, yeah, so best auto sale. So whether that's auto repair or, yeah, it must be auto repair. But anyway, yeah, so they would like for their clients who come and go that there be a 30-minute time-limited parking to allow a little bit more flexibility with people coming and going, and that's in a particular space not taken up for the course of the day. There was one objection to this. They talked about a lack of enforcement, but regardless of whatever restrictions you have, that could still be an issue. So I'm not sure that it's entirely relevant. Enforcement is an issue, but I think it's a separate issue. So there was one objection, but we still think that the request is reasonable, and we would recommend that we move it forward to the board. And finally, this is the one that generated a little bit more discussion. So around the corner on Semicircular Road by Chavez Market, this is the area, it's the back of the store, it's where deliveries are made, and it's where the trash bins from Chavez Market are put out on the street. Part of the problem that they have is that when cars are parked on that street, oftentimes they cannot put the trash bins out, and the trash might not get picked up. Oftentimes, their delivery trucks can't stop there, and therefore they're stopping in the middle of the street and impeding traffic. There were concerns. I think we received 4 objections to a proposal for essentially a permanent loading zone there. So if we move to the next picture, we can take a look at, I think, what's happening or how they stack up the trash bins when they can. But again, parking is a challenge in this area. So with the objections that we got, we thought that a modified proposal would make better sense. So instead of having that as being a permanent loading zone, we could make it a time-limited loading zone, give basically the business certain hours to do their deliveries. They'd have certain hours to put their trash, and the rest of the day, it can revert back to a normal parking area. So the proposal that we're putting forward, somewhat modified from what the property owner had requested, is that this be a loading zone between the hours of 7 in the morning and noon, and that it otherwise be an unrestricted parking space.
Does 7 to noon, have you confirmed with them anything about whether that matches their delivery schedule? I assume garbage pickup would.
Yeah, the garbage pick, and so the 7 a.m. is really kind of based on the garbage pickup. We understand that in this area you do have a school nearby, and so that is one of the challenges. Is that it's probably a reasonable pickup and drop-off point for students, but as a loading zone, cars could still pick up and drop off students even during that, essentially that cycle where it is restricted that way. So I think the potential impact there is if there's spillover vehicles from the Arrowhead community that don't have sufficient parking for overnight, that I see would be the one potential impact. I don't know how much overnight parking from spilling over from the residential neighborhood that abuts this is actually happening. I would think that is not where most of the folks who live in the community. It would be a bit of a walk to their residence. I would think that that's not probably happening very much. But I don't have physical evidence that can tell you one way or another.
Well, the objections, you have 4 objections. Were
Yes.
they from where? The residents across the street from Chavez Market?
I believe they were from the residents.
So nothing from the school?
I am not aware of any objections from the school now. What I can do is I can go ahead and check with staff. I know that actually, if it's your wish, I can go ahead and pull out the individual objections so that you can see in a little bit more detail what they've said and who they're coming from. And if it meets with the council's approval, we can move forward on the other items and we can revisit this one at a later date, understanding that there's a little bit more hesitancy and a little bit more concern on this one than with the others.
I'm just more inclined to see it as a safety measure to allow the trucks to make their deliveries and not be standing out in the middle of the road where the school is. To me, that seems like a trade-off that would be worthwhile, especially if the 7 to 12 pretty much covers not only garbage pickup, but most deliveries.
Yeah, and that the reason that we are recommending it is that we do feel like there's an overriding benefit by being able to address that issue.
I've certainly been by there many times when there were kids trying to walk there and delivery trucks out in the middle, and you can't get through, and it's a pretty dicey situation. So
Yeah, and I don't know if it really changes very much with respect to how might one look at this situation. I think probably not, but just a little background on a parallel front, we will be this summer installing sidewalk improvements on that portion of Semicircular. So with the wider sidewalks, certainly we're hoping that we end up with a situation where the sidewalks are more actively used and you have a little bit less traffic, where pedestrian traffic kind of coming out into the street areas.
Yeah, no,
But-
I'm glad that you're looking at this problem, and I think it's worth giving this a try, and if it really doesn't, work, or if something else develops from this, then, we can always look at it again.
Yeah, moving forward is what our recommendation would be, and we can certainly gauge how that's working
And actually,
moving
where
forward.
the trucks stop to deliver is pretty far away from the entrance into the school area for the cars. And I always thought the trucks stop not because of the garbage bins, they can't back up the truck. They have problems backing up those trucks. It's a small space right there. But no, that's fine. At this point, I would like to ask if there's any comments from the public on this issue. And if there's any other comments from council members, questions regarding this?
Need more information on a certain
Oh, go ahead. Which one?
I was wondering if, Joe, you can give us some more information in the future about what the Department of Public Works Road Fund covers?
I could talk all day about
In the future.
So yes, absolutely. We can.
Or in like a piece of paper that what those projects go to, how do those funds get used, so that we're aware?
Yeah, absolutely. Be more than happy to talk to you about the road fund in general.
So just clarify that, Public Works will probably be doing giving a staff report to the council, so we can just mention that as their staff report in the next couple of months.
Okay.
I just had a question. I'm curious because several of these were painted, and you said yet they couldn't be enforced because they were not on the books as official. What triggers this? I mean, how do you figure that out? I mean, obviously people looking at it are probably thinking, oh, that's red, I can't park there, but for the people who park there anyway, and so does the sheriff's office have like a list of what's an official red zone and what's not? How does that work even?
So what we sometimes get, and the reality is, if something is marked a certain way, it probably generally functions that way. But sometimes what we get is we'll get an inquiry from the sheriff's department at some of these locations, and they'll ask us if there's an ordinance in place. And if we say no, then basically they won't ticket that location. So there are locations where we've checked our records, they've asked us to check our records, and that could come about just because, for example, somebody may have challenged a ticket. And then if they challenge a ticket, then you have to be able to provide the ordinance that make sure that really did become the law.
Okay. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
I'll entertain a motion on the recommendation from Public Works.
I'll motion that we approve or support the recommendations regarding the proposed parking regulation modifications on the locations mentioned in item number 5.
Is there a second to the motion?
I second the motion.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed? No? Any abstentions? No. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Joe. Okay, next item, Tiari Pena. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
You're going to speak on the off-street parking exception at 431 3rd Avenue to allow one existing covered parking space and one uncovered parking space to occur within the 20-foot front setback.
Right.
Thank you.
Good evening. It's been a while since I've been before you. So this is an application for an off-street parking exception at 451 3rd Avenue, North Fair Oaks. It's currently it's a non-conforming parcel at 39. Let's see, what is it? It's where the minimum parcel size is 5,000, is a parcel of 3960. So it's a non-conforming parcel. The proposal is, it's an existing 2-bedroom, 1 bath with a 1-car garage. They want to add 2 bedrooms and another bath and make it into a residential care facility. And I think I have the next. So basically, this is the project location on 3rd Avenue, and 3rd Avenue is an area that is very impacted with parking. And the next photo, it's, as you can see, it's a very small parcel, and the proposal, and I think the only way planning would even recommend approval for this would be if they could show us somehow that they could put another uncovered parking space somewhere within the 20-foot setback. Given that it would be a residential care facility, and we understand that most of those residents wouldn't drive, that doesn't mean that would always stay a residential care facility. In the future, if it was sold, it'd be a 4-bedroom house with 1 parking space. And so I just have plans for what the proposal is to add to the rear 391 square feet and a deck, and put a little parking area in here. And that's basically it. I did get one call from a resident who was concerned, as we know, about the parking on 3rd Avenue. It's very impacted. I've been down there a few times. It's very difficult to park on 3rd Avenue as it is now. So I brought this before you because, as we know, there's certain parking exceptions that the council looks at. One, if it goes over 3 bedrooms, if it goes over 50%, or if it makes the house bigger than 1,500 square feet. In this case, it would be over 1,600 square feet. So all of those things bring it to you today for a recommendation to the planning department.
And so it was determined that since they're seniors, correct?
Are you the applicant?
Or older adults, or, so the
There would
parking
be-
needs
there
are
would-
the staff?
Staff,
And
visitors.
it was determined two staff?
2 staff.
Okay.
If visitors come to, to.
And visitors.
Well, 1 person could park in the garage, 1 staff person could park in the driveway. And we were proposing that they could make another tandem parking uncovered, impervious, type of pavers or something along the front to try to get at least another parking space on site.
Or is that another site? I can't quite see. Is that?
No, there's a garage. This is the driveway, driveway, and this would be possibly where they could put another space.
Okay,
They'd
so
have to
there-
design it.
So there is a garage.
There is a garage, a
So we
1-car
would be
garage.
looking at, oh, I see, the tandem would be in front of the garage. So potentially there could be 5 parking spaces there, is what you're saying?
No, there would be 3. There'd
There's
be
2 in the garage?
There's 1 in the garage. There would be in the driveway, and then next to the driveway.
Oh, okay, I thought you could do 2 in the driveway.
No, it's not long enough. So that would be their proposal.
Okay.
And for
So I think historically, this neighborhood, small houses, not much parking, that's why we had the limits. And it goes over 2 or 3 of those limits?
It goes
Just
over,
the
it's going to be
square footage?
1,656 square feet.
All three.
So it's over the 1,500 square foot limit. It goes over a 3-bedroom. It becomes a 4-bedroom, where right now it's a 2-bedroom. And it would be for non-ambulatory and ambulatory residents.
But you're saying it still stays, the zoning is still residential, so it
Yes,
could-
it's still
Yes.
so
residential.
it would still be, as
Yeah.
you said, converted easily back to a resident.
Certainly.
A home.
So
yeah.
I'd be inclined to decline, not to support this because, generally we've supported things that were, good for the neighborhood or good for, perhaps a family that was living there, but just so somebody can make some money and that impacts the parking of the whole neighborhood, I don't feel good about supporting that. If they want to, make a care facility, they need to find some place with the proper parking and the proper, square footage. I don't think it should be impacting the neighbors.
My question would be, would it be a different recommendation were they to come back with a proposal that shows one uncovered parking space next to the driveway so that they could accommodate an uncovered parking space on site?
So there would be a total of 4.
No, there would no.
No, just
it would
two.
Be, it would be still 2: a covered parking garage, an uncovered parking space next to it. So they would have 2 parking spaces, but it would be within a 20-foot setback.
But it still require an exception.
Yes, it would
So
still.
that's what we're not
Right.
in favor of, any
Okay.
exception.
That's my question.
Okay.
And you're still looking at the
myself.
size, and you're looking at the additional or anticipated additional parking.
My concern
Or need
is
for parking.
My concern is at this point, yes, we do need residential care facilities, and we know that.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't guarantee we'll always stay a residential care facility. And in the future, it could sell as a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home with 1 covered parking garage, which is out of compliance with our parking regulations.
Mm-hmm.
If they were, however, to provide a carport or an uncovered parking space on site that would give us 2, it would give us more than what you have, which you need 2 or more parking spaces for a 2-bedroom or more. So that was my question. If they were able to come back showing us how they could provide 2 spaces, although one of them would be uncovered or within the 20-foot setback, would the council be willing to accommodate that or look at that proposal?
If they want to come back and show us 2 covered and 1 uncovered.
Yeah, they can't do 2. I don't think they can do 2 covered, but they can do 1 covered and possibly 1 uncovered or possibly another covered.
They probably bought this property for a price, and that's why the price was what it was, as 1-car garage.
Right.
So,
Okay.
Right. That's my question. So that's.
We have
for you.
a public comment on this issue. It's Joel Fuerte? Hi. And you live on, can you tell us where you live, Joel?
Yes, I live in Third
You want to take the podium, please? Or go up to the podium?
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Joel. I live right next to this property. They want to bring some adults. And actually, I'm 443 3rd Avenue.
Okay.
And you know what? This is the first time we have received a letter regarding this construction. We didn't notify. And the other thing, I don't know if they already got the permit, or the permit went through already, or they are coming up with this new plan. But my wife Maria and I, we disagree on this project. So
Why?
the reason I do not have anything against adult or anything, I just seem like we want something more residential instead of like hospitality or business. I think that should be out of the residential area. It's just my personal opinion. So my point is, I disagree with it.
Do you have an issue with parking?
It is pretty crowded. It is pretty
Okay.
crowded. Yes.
All right, and this is Maria?
Maria, my wife.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Council, yes, Ever.
If I can add a comment also, when I looked at the proposal earlier today, I was concerned about the general welfare of those neighbors there, because chances are, emergency vehicles may need to be coming, with some frequency, and also if the parking is already an issue, And in addition, there's, added traffic for emergency vehicles that also could be detrimental to the lives of those who live around this proposed business.
I'm remembering the last time we had an issue with the property next to where the Bay Area Catering was also about that size. And then, I know this is not related, but it was like because it was the combination of the substandard size lot and all this crowding and then the additional parking, I mean, that was just always an issue. So I guess, I've seen and I can understand wanting to make an exception. I'm almost wanting to say, yeah, if they can look at that, but I am concerned of what Ever's saying too about because of what they're requesting it for now would be, you're right, an opportunity for there might be a need for emergency vehicles, and if in the future they decide to make it a single family home, then we're just kind of back to why can't every single family home in that situation have this? Because we already are impacted. So I don't know how I know that's the fact of its being a care facility is a separate issue, but.
Well, if we even took that off the table,
Right.
it not even being a care facility, would the council accommodate the thought that if they could provide another parking space on site, which they don't have now, and so provide us 2 parking spaces, 1 covered, 1 uncovered, which would be more than we have now, which is all you need for a 2-bedroom or more? That's the question before the council today.
Okay, I'm not going to answer that question. Diane, you had a comment?
Oh, yeah. I just have a quick question. How many people would be living in this facility? Like, do you have an estimation?
I believe it would be, there'll be 4 bedrooms, and it looks like that each bedroom could probably accommodate 1 to 2. So there could be 4 to 6 people. It depends on how they're, 6 or less doesn't require a county permit. 6 or more requires a county permit. So they're not requesting 6 or more. So my thought is going to be 5.
Okay.
Point of procedure, Melissa. So if council's inclined not to accept the recommendation, and I'm hearing staff asking the question if they were to come back with a different recommendation, would we just put this on hold or not would we have to vote on this specifically or just put it aside and extend the time on this decision?
I think there are 2 options that you could consider. One would be if the council, as a group, would move to continue the item to a future meeting.
Okay.
And there's consensus on that. You could do that. If you are concurring with Tiari's proposal, you could make your recommendation of approval conditional on the applicant showing this additional parking place on their site plan, and then it would be up to staff to verify that they have actually done so before they make the final decision. So if you know the condition that you want, you could frame your recommendation in that way.
Okay. There's and parking's not the only issue. It's the size and the.
It's not really the size.
All of the other
It's really not
items.
about the size.
Yes,
It's really about
I'd
parking.
like to make a comment. The front yard's kind of small, and I've seen this happen before where they pave over or make a parking space so most of it's parking space and not landscaping.
Yeah.
And it's not that pretty.
Yeah.
So I'm not recommending any expansion. It's already crowded on that lot.
Okay. Well, I'll entertain a motion, and then we'll see how far the motion goes.
Oh, can I just make a quick comment?
Yes, Diane.
Okay, so you said like it would be about 6 people, right? Well, what I see in North Fair Oaks is that when it's like a residential place this big, what owners do is that they rent it out to families. So what would happen is possibly what could happen is that you would have like about 3 or 4 people per room, and that could become like easily 10 to 16 people in one house. And I know that because I have friends who live that way, family friends that live that way. So I feel like I would probably like to support a care facility of 6 people rather than have the possibility of having even more people when this is a residential home.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I'd like to make a comment too. So I think for people who are moving into this residential area, they come in, or the ones who are already there, coming in with the just idea that they're moving into a residential area and that's what it's going to be, and then bringing in a facility, it's kind of making it into a business when their whole idea was moving into just residential, and that's just kind of switching things up.
Okay, thank you, Mary.
I can't hear you.
That was already approved, though, it being a residential care
It
facility.
can be, any single-family residence in San Mateo County can become a residential care facility.
Unless, I think Tiari mentioned before, they have exceed
6 or
a
more.
certain number of
Yeah.
residents, then a permit would be required.
Then they would need a use permit. Otherwise, it can be accommodated in any residential area.
So in this case, the use isn't really important.
It's not the use, it's the parking.
Okay. Is council ready to take action on this item? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll motion that we recommend the planning department deny the off-street parking exception at 451 3rd Avenue.
Okay. Is there a second to the motion?
I will second that.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion to deny the recommendation on the off-street parking exception? With no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the motion? No.
Here.
I heard, was that two? Two opposed? Okay. Actually, the motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you, Tiari. Okay, I keep moving this thing. Okay, Melissa, you're presenting on the next, on number 7, and this is regarding the determination of the public convenience or necessity at 2694 Middlefield Road, otherwise known as man crates. Thank you.
That's correct. Thank you, Chair. So I'd like to just give the council and the audience a quick overview of what staff is requesting tonight, and then I believe that the applicant is present and they can provide you with further information about their request. So staff is here to request the council's recommendation about whether issuing a liquor license to man crates at 2694 Middlefield Road would serve the public convenience or necessity. As some background, Launchpad Incorporated, which is doing business as man crates, so I'll probably use that name just for convenience, submitted an application to the California Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control, commonly referred to as ABC, requesting an off-sale liquor license. An off-sale license is the type of license where they are permitted to sell alcohol for consumption off the premises. So not like a bar or a restaurant where you consume the alcohol on the premises. And in general, California state law governs liquor licenses and local law doesn't apply. One exception is in areas where there is an undue concentration. And there are two different ways that an area could be considered an area of undue concentration. One is if there is if it's an area of high crime, and the other is if there are more liquor licenses in that area than the ratio for the remainder of the county, and that's done by census tract, not by neighborhood or community. If it is an area of undue concentration, then the state asks the local government to make a determination about whether issuing the liquor license would serve the public convenience or necessity, and the local government gets to make that determination before the state decides whether or not to issue the liquor license. So in this case, the proposed site is in an area of undue concentration. there are 4 off-sale alcohol licenses permitted in this area, and there are 5 existing off-sale licenses. And
Oh, the numbers are different on the,
is it 3 and 4?
yeah. Did it go up?
I don't think so. I think you're right, 3 and 4.
Okay.
I may have been looking at it the wrong census
That's from
tract.
Census Tract
Yes.
105?
Thank you.
Okay.
And I actually don't have the statistics on the crime in this specific area. I know that a recent other site in the North Fair Oaks area was a high crime area, and that may be the case here as well. And I'll get into crime a little bit more in a moment. But regardless, this is a location of undue concentration, and so the county is required to make this determination before the application can go forward. So in San Mateo County, the Board of Supervisors is the body that makes the ultimate determination of whether the public convenience or necessity would be served. Before doing that, they request input from the local advisory body, which is you all in this case. We also request input from the Sheriff's Office, and we have done so on this application. And the Sheriff's Office has, I believe, sent a representative today in case you have any questions about crime in the area, but they have indicated to me that they won't oppose the issuance of this license based on their understanding of the business model. And so once we get input from your council, this will go to the Board of Supervisors for the ultimate determination. And just very briefly, the determination of public convenience or necessity is a very broad term, and the county is vested with a lot of discretion in making that determination. You could consider a variety of factors, but in general, you're looking for whether issuance of the license would provide some type of benefit to the community. So things that other jurisdictions commonly consider are whether the business provides a needed service, provides economic benefit, would induce any negative impacts to the community, whether it's consistent with the character of the surrounding location, and whether there are any special circumstances that weigh in on one side or the other. So that's my overview of the considerations before you. If you have any questions for me, happy to answer those.
I have a question. Is this transferable? Suppose that they were issued the license. I understand they're just doing like a retail mail order. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think the applicant can speak to their business model, but I believe that liquor licenses are transferable, but that they would be required to get another determination of public convenience or necessity before a new business could use that license.
So they are going to speak to their business model, and also I'm trying to figure out where this is. Cross street. Give me a. Oh, okay.
Grab this. All right, so thanks, Melissa. That was awesome. I've been trying to figure out the ABC stuff for like 3 years, and if I had just heard that up front, probably would have made my life a lot easier. So I know now. My name is John Beekman. I'm the founder of a really cool e-commerce gift company called Man Crates. So does anyone know what June 21st is? Father's Day. Just a quick plug for Man Crates. But yeah. Hey, I'm a founder, so I think that's kind of my job to plug the business. So, yeah, maybe just to start off, what I thought I would do, and I appreciate the council letting me come here and just talk a little bit about who we are, what we do, and kind of why the alcohol license figures into what we want to do going forward. Maybe this is where we can kind of start. So we're neighbors. Where you can find us is we're actually in a railroad Y, so where the 3 tracks come together, that area in between, it's called the railroad Y. It's over in the Redwood Junction warehouse complex. So there's actually only one way to get into the complex, so we have 0 foot traffic. And I'll show you, I can actually show you, let me just skip, I'll show you that slide at the end so you can see exactly where we are. But suffice to say, there's very, very little foot traffic. No one really has any reason to go back there unless you work back there. So just to maybe give you a little bit of background on the kind of business we're building, because I think this is helpful in kind of understanding what we're trying to build and the culture we're building with the employees that are there. I started this company about 3 years ago with a simple understanding that hit me like kind of a ton of bricks when I was trying to buy gifts, is that most people absolutely hate the process of buying gifts, especially gifts for men. And if you talk to my wife and she asks me what I want for Father's Day, I go like, yeah, I don't know. And she's like, you're the least helpful person I've ever met. So I was sitting on a table one day and realized that all my searches online hadn't really resulted in anything that I would want to get myself or give. So I had this really simple concept, said, what if we take stuff that guys love, gear, gadgets, bacon, jerky, pack them into these wooden crates and ship the crates with a crowbar so that when you get it as a gift recipient, you actually have to tear this thing open with your bare hands. So it's a pretty awesome experience. And I actually, so Maggie Cruz, who works with me, actually we brought 3 of our products. So if someone wants to take a crack at the crate afterwards, we can do that. But started with this concept, I convinced my wife, we could do that at the end too. Convinced my wife to give me pretty much like $1,000 allowance to try to build this business out of our apartment. And I eventually sold my motorcycle to pour that money into the business and bootstrap this. And we started in my second bedroom. That quickly spilled out into my living room. And you can see we totally destroyed my house in the process of trying to get this business off the ground. Realized that customers were really into this. That then spilled out into my garage. This is my co-founder, Sam. So you can kind of imagine it was very kind of humble beginnings to our company. And at some point we realized that we were selling enough of these and that we were making enough people happy that it made sense to go out and raise a little bit of capital. And when we did, we were able to finally move into Redwood Junction. This commemorates the happiest day of my wife's life when we finally moved out of our apartment. So we moved into a tiny 1,600 square foot space. We've since moved into 5,000, then moved into another 5,000, then rented 2,000 from a neighbor. We opened up a location in New Jersey and just opened a new location, 50,000 square feet in San Jose. So we've grown like crazy. We've been quadrupling every year. And so it's been a crazy ride. When we started, we had a very limited set of products that we sold. Today, we sell a lot more. And so a couple of these things we sell, anything that, kind of the average guy likes, those are the kind of things we try to sell. So we sell a lot of grilling stuff. We sell a lot of outdoor survival gear. We sell video games, and then we also have 3 other product lines that don't come in crates. One that's called Jerky Grams, which we have here with us. It's California sourced beef jerky that comes in a cool box wrapped in butcher paper. We've got a whole line of ammo cans, including things that we've launched on Kickstarter. And then I just became a new dad about 1.5 years ago, so I figured dads need caffeine, especially when you have a 4-month-old. So we started this tactical bag line to help new dads. So this is kind of a sense of hopefully gives you a sense of what we do. So. We're a really quirky company, so we think we're trying to make gifting fun, because giving a gift card isn't fun. So we do crazy things like for the last Valentine's Day, we allowed our customers to write their romantic messages, and then we'd have our guys record intentionally awkward videos that would get delivered to the recipient right when he got his package. So just to give you a little bit of sense of who we are and kind of what we do. So. This is where I think the public convenience comes in. When we started, it was just me and I wasn't paying myself. The next year, our first real year in business, 2012, this chart shows just the employee growth that we've had. The blue is full-time employees, and then the red, we use select staffing to help us get through holiday seasons. But basically, we went from 4 employees, paid employees in 2012 to 11 in 2013, 29 last year, and then we'll be at about 60 by the end of this year, going to close to 80 to 85 employees next year. So the growth has been tremendous. And these just aren't any jobs. So even the entry-level jobs in our warehouse are paid significantly above minimum wage, plus come with full benefits on day one. And those benefits also come with partial coverage for dependents as well. So the jobs that we're creating are actually quality jobs. A lot of the people that work for us live in this community. They walk or bike to work. And a big part of this story has been our ability to kind of grow our product lines, right? So our vision is not just to sell crates. We want to basically be the one-stop shop for all men's gifts and do it in a fun, kind of tastefully irreverent way. And so this is part of what factors into the vision. So I'm big on photos, so I'm not good at PowerPoint, so I just throw photos up here. At one point, it's hard to believe this was 75% of our paid workforce right after we moved in. We also do really cool photos. That's me posing as Flannel Claus, which is the idea was he's Santa's like older brother who's not good with kids, so he has to deliver the gifts for men. And our team has just grown, and so we do team retreats. They were really excited when I told them that we were going to go rafting, and then I told them they had to build their boats out of cardboard, which made it even more fun. So this is a little bit about the culture. Anyone who's here is welcome to come visit us as well. You can kind of see it for yourself. It's a really fun, inclusive place. Same thing, I'll skip through this just to give you a sense. This was like our biggest day in 2012. Then we went to FedEx having to rent budget trucks because they didn't have enough space in their own trucks. Yeah.
Excuse me, can you get to the crates part of it?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. So anyway.
Yeah, the alcohol.
Yeah, sure. So anyway, I'm trying to kind of build a little bit of the case for we create a lot of jobs. The goal of the liquor license is to really help us continue to expand product lines. Two of our most popular crates actually are alcohol themed, but have never actually come with alcohol. So this is personalized barware and our whiskey lovers crate. And so our customers have asked us repeatedly for the last 3 years since we've been doing these crates to ship craft beer, specifically from California breweries, to them. We haven't been able to do that. At some point last year, we said we should probably investigate this. We applied for a Type 21 license, and we're fortunate enough to get selected as part of the lottery to do this. And so I have zero desire to open a liquor store. I don't know how to run a liquor store. I don't want to run a liquor store. But a Type 21 license is required if we're going to put alcohol in these products and ship them to people in California. 100% of our sales are through e-commerce. We don't see our customers. We ship them great products, but we don't see them. And so the goal is to never sell a single thing of alcohol to anyone who walks in. This is not going to be another liquor store. It's purely to facilitate us expanding our product lines. And to do that, we think that's going to be one of the things that really helps us continue to grow and create more great jobs here in the Fair Oaks community. So where we're located, Costco is right here. You have these railroad tracks that come behind Costco. Target is right here. You have to come in off Middlefield and then make a couple rights, cross the railroad tracks, and come all the way back into here. So this is called a Railroad Y. That's where that Redwood Junction warehouse complex is. We have great relationships with our neighbors and would love the council's recommendation and support on us pursuing a liquor license. And so that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions about our business or.
Launchpad, is that the same company that works with the charter schools?
No, if you look at.
No, it's the identical name.
It is. Well, there's probably 10 Launchpad type companies that are listed. Okay. Launchpad Inc. was actually incorporated in Delaware. And so when we started in California, we got a DBA to go by man crates.
Okay.
And so.
In this county, when you see Launchpad, you think of charter schools.
Oh, sure, yeah. And actually, you'll never see Launchpad anywhere on our site. We're purely man crates.
And I wanted to know how many your employment chart that you show that progression. How many jobs have actually gone to North Fair Oaks residents?
That's a good question. I know we have a couple. One lives on Blenheim. We have a couple others that live there. I could go back. I know that there's plenty of people that walk and bike, so they're in a very close community. We do try to hire locally, just like we try to source from suppliers that are local. We try to source from California suppliers and keep things as close as possible.
I know you hire seasonally. A lot of our students here in this neighborhood look for seasonal jobs that they can walk to. Personally, do you think that if we were able to consider this, you would allow students from surrounding high schools only to apply for your seasonal jobs?
Oh, so if you consider this, would we take seasonal workers from high schools
it's illegal.
Exclusively?
It's illegal. You can't have.
So then no.
Underage anywhere in the vicinity if you're selling liquor, right? But anyway, sorry, Raphael.
No, it's okay.
How's that going to work?
So I'm just trying to get a little more clarity about how this type of license that's required, that says it's a liquor store, but it's not. So you're saying that this is the type of license that's required for anybody who's shipping
Correct.
alcohol and, okay.
And just to clarify, we are technically required by the license to be open to the public. So we do have a showroom at the front of the property, a small showroom that's staffed by our customer service team, but no one ever comes in there, and I wouldn't be surprised if we went 3 years with not a single person stepping in there.
So you could purchase, I could walk in and purchase a man crate, is what you're saying?
You could, yes.
Okay, and then also, is there any other information we need about kind of the restrictions on this type of license when you're using it for a mail order, essentially mail order business?
I'm not aware of any other restrictions that you should know of.
I have a question.
But you did say that once, if it were to transfer, it would go through the process again, correct?
That's my understanding.
Yeah, and we can't. We're unable to transfer for 2 years in any case, and so it sticks with us for 2 years.
Okay,
and it's
so-
also property dependent, I believe.
We have other council
Sure.
members that have questions. Go ahead.
Melissa, I have a
Rafael.
question. So if in Target or a local convenience store they sell beer and you have a 16-year-old at the register, how does that make it legal as opposed to unlegal in a different?
I don't know that it's illegal, the proposal that you made. I don't know if anyone here does. It's not my area of specialty. I think maybe our sheriff's representative, I think if you're serving alcohol.
It's a purchase of.
Yeah.
It's a purchase of. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
It's the okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. So the illegal part is the purchase of. Got it.
And I don't know if there's ways that companies segregate, areas by age of employee, or there may be options there, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, and we do have.
Got it. Got it.
Makes sense.
Okay, any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you give back to your community?
Yeah.
Do you anything give back to your community, to this North Fair Oaks? Do you do anything of that sort?
So we haven't done anything like outreach to local schools yet. I think that I'm of the opinion that in creating jobs, we're creating strong families. And so that's, to me, the place where we can add the most impact, kind of the long-term sustainable impact. We do have volunteer days where we go and do food shelter stuff, but it hasn't been purely focused on North Fair Oaks. We also do have a military discount program, so we're giving back everything that military buys from us. We ship to APOs and FPOs. All of that is discounted. We also support military charities, so that's kind of where we focus most of our attention, as it aligns, I think, with the interest of our customers. So that's kind of where we do give back. It's just we haven't done. I would be interested if, assuming it's legal, to engage in some kind of local outreach as well. And is Kainos is technically in the boundary of, so we work with Kainos too, and they do a lot of the assembly for us, and we've been working with them for 3 years. So
Diane, you have a question?
Yeah, do you have an estimate of how many employees are residents of North Fair Oaks?
I don't have the exact. I know at least a handful, but I do know that there's a handful also that just walked and biked to work, so they're close. And I know of at least one on Blenheim, because I've dropped them off before, that lives in North Fair Oaks.
Thank you.
What's the median age range of your employees?
That's a good question. I think it spans, I would say if I had to guess, I would say probably average would be probably 35. So we have people that are younger than that. We have people older than that. But I'd say as a blended average, that's probably about right.
So did I hear you say that 100% of the sales is online?
Correct, yeah.
So you don't have a gift shop that people, so it's not open to the public?
So it's technically, so with this new license, we're building a place that will be open to the public, a display room, as per the ABC regulations. But we're almost 100% e-commerce. And so we sell across the country. The alcohol sales will be limited to California residents.
And are you creating that new level or new layer just at this particular site or all of your?
Just this particular site.
Why this particular site?
So we want to do, it's expensive and time consuming to do this. We've never done this before, so part of this is a product line extension. We wanted to kind of keep this test small to see if it works, and if it works, then we would consider going and expanding it. But for example, in our New Jersey facility, you have to go through ABC, and all of the relationships, the purchasing distribution relationships, have to be through that state's 3-tier system as well. So it's this is hopefully the first step in a wider rollout. Our customers have asked for this, and I think this is going to be really successful. And so this is kind of the first step, and if it's successful, we'll grow it.
Okay, just council members, while you're thinking about this, and if you have any other questions, please bring them up. But North Fair Oaks has a long history, actually the council has a long history of getting involved in turning the tide on alcohol sale in our community. At one time, just down Middlefield Road, there were up to about 13 to 14 bars on Middlefield Road between 8th Avenue and Douglas. Actually, I believe at one point there were 15. And at this time, there's only, and I know a bar is different from this, but it's the idea of having any business that, promotes alcohol. And I know it's a different type of business, and I'm just giving some historical perspective on this. And the council has been very instrumental in denying liquor licenses, permits. This community also has a very high incidence of alcoholism and domestic violence. So there are a lot of social issues directly related to the use of alcohol in North Fair Oaks. So when these type of matters come before us, we look at it. We look very carefully at these, and we're asking you questions. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to give you a little background on that.
No, that's helpful. The thing I think for us is, if you were going to buy alcohol from us, you'd have to spend probably $60 to $70 to buy a 6-pack. So it's probably unlikely. I would be surprised if someone walked in and bought from us, unless they didn't want to walk the 4 blocks to get it. But I think I think with everything, we try to promote responsible consumption, right? If you look at our site, we're not a bro brand, we're not a college frat humor brand. 65% of our customers are women, and so we kind of like that we're tastefully irreverent. So when you go look at our site, it's humorous, but I appreciate that feedback.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Council members, any other questions on this? We have it down for council action tonight on this matter. If there's no, Melissa?
I was just going to inquire as to whether there was any public comment that's been.
Excuse me, yes. Is there any public comment on this issue? No. And we do have the sheriff representative from the sheriff's department if anyone has a question for the sheriff. No. Okay.
Sure. The sheriff's office found no objection to this, is that correct? I do find this interesting in that I've been through the process with gas stations wanting to sell liquor we were not in favor of. More liquor stores we were not in favor of. Restaurants, adding restaurants that served liquor we were not in favor of. This one, I have to say, is very different business model in that you're not selling locally and you're actually providing jobs locally. So that is appealing to me. And the fact that you can't just transfer this liquor license to, which does run with the site, but we could deny it if somebody else came in here and wanted to turn it into a liquor store. So I'm looking at this differently than a lot of the issues that liquor-related issues we've looked at in the past.
Are we ready for a motion? I'll entertain a motion.
I would want further review on this item.
Okay, all right.
I would want us to study this a little bit more as a group.
Okay.
That's my personal
There's no time.
How do I say that, Melissa? Can you help me out with that, please?
Okay.
I can point out one issue with your suggestion,
Sure, thank you.
unfortunately, which is that state law only gives us 90 days to provide our recommendation from receipt of their application, and we need to have board of supervisors action on this item during their June agenda.
Oh, okay.
And so unfortunately, we need a recommendation from the board tonight, but we're happy to, you can craft that recommendation however you want, and I will package those concerns or recommendations to the board as well.
Yeah.
Well, do you have further questions? Do you need more information?
I mean, I brought up my issues of, certain organizations doing what they do with hiring youth and also like young adults, also college students.
It sounds like
Beatrice,
they'll
did
be
you- what
able
do you
to hire young adults.
Yeah.
So, my 20 years on the council, I've never supported a liquor license, but this is different. And it is true that the ABC asked for this determination of public convenience, but it doesn't mean that they listen to that. The ABC does as they please. So I think the fact that, as he mentioned, it's unlikely that, a local alcoholic's going to go up to his business and get a six-pack for $60, right? So I don't think that, that's the main issue for this community is the abuse of alcohol.
And I just want to remind everyone that according to the application, we're over the allowance by one license, just so bring that to your attention.
Yeah.
I hear that the issue about the employment piece is important. I've heard it come up from several people. So I'd like to, you might want to add that to the, whoever's going to make the motion. It's my suggestion. But anyway, at this point, Dale, would you like to make the motion?
I wouldn't really like to.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay,
Does
well, I
somebody
will
else?
entertain a motion on this matter.
I'm stuck on this one.
Well, we have three options. I mean, we have option not to vote yes, or to vote no, or no recommendation. So those are our options.
A fourth
If we do, and the
option
fourth option is to do further.
could be to
discussion.
make a recommendation with conditions.
Mhm.
So if you're interested in recommending approval with the condition that staff investigate whether underage or youth under age 21 would be eligible for employment at that facility, that's something that we can do. And I could report back to you on the results of that research, although the board would have to go forward with their action. If you want more information from the company about their employment practices, I'm sure that they'd be happy to add more, but we can't completely answer the legal question, unfortunately, for you tonight.
Okay. And another condition might be that we request of the vendor that they aggressively promote employing North Fair Oaks residents. That might also be another condition. Okay. Does that help? Okay, we need to move, we do need to move on this. We have some other reports that we have to cover.
Can we go with the fourth option? Can we?
Yeah, I have to, I can't make the motion, Mary, so
Okay.
one of the council members needs to formulate the motion.
Okay, can I make the motion
Go
for the
ahead.
fourth?
Yes,
For the
yes.
fourth option
Yes.
is to make conditions or ask conditions
Okay.
or, yes.
Okay, so you're making a motion that we go with the option to include conditions for accepting the recommendation?
Yes.
Okay.
The conditions, some of the ones that we just mentioned.
Okay.
And then also condition that it will never get to the point where you can walk up and just buy the alcohol or buy even just a crate that is just, it's maybe the $60 you said, but just alcohol. That would be my concern.
Yeah, I think we could craft a condition that, that the on-site sales be limited to a closed crate. And,
If you want, we could also say that the on-site sales are limited to crates that retail for $500 or more. I mean, I really don't, I don't want to sell a single crate to anyone who walks up. We haven't done it yet, and I would prefer not to, so if that was.
So we have a condition regarding further research on the age, on the minors' employment.
and if I could just ask for one clarification on that condition, is your interest, Raphael, in, I mean, I know you just want to know the answer, but in being
seasonal
able
work.
to employ minors where there's alcohol sold, or are you trying to avoid
I think
the
he's
placement of
looking at
minors in a
job
facility
options.
where alcohol
I'm looking
will be
at
sold?
opportunities
Job
at
opportunities.
a startup that's been successful for a young adult.
Right, right.
Okay. So one of the conditions could be
That's the way to
further
put it.
research on youth employment at man crates and what are, if there are any limitations. And the second condition is requesting of the vendor that that there be no site sales, or that sales, excuse me, on-site be limited to closed crates. And then the third condition is regarding the promotion of job opportunities for North Fair Oaks residents. Does that cover everything? Mary? I'm sorry, Mary, this is your motion.
What about
that I'm trying to.
What I was saying?
I was just going to say, what about promoting not promoting local alcohol sales?
Yeah, I agree with that, not promoting it.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have, we have a makeshift motion here, putting some conditions on here. And I think one of them covers the employment, one of them covers the research on youth employment restrictions or limitations. A third one covers the on-site sale of open crates. We don't want it to turn into a liquor store, you got that part. And then the fourth condition would be, okay, not to promote liquor sales, okay. All right. Does that, I think that covers it, pretty much.
What was the fourth one? To not promote alcohol, local alcohol sales.
Local sales of alcohol,
Okay.
to not promote them. Because you're already saying you don't do them, but in the future, we wouldn't want you to promote it and change your mind.
Oh, no. You're welcome to drop in anytime to just make sure that we're not. You won't see any flyers from us promoting alcohol in the neighborhood, I
But
promise.
it also sounds like the employment thing is not so much research per se, because we're pretty clear that people could be employed, but to pursue an effort to employ local and youth local youth, assuming that it is possible.
Right. That, I think that that's covered in the conditions. And if you're clear, if everyone is clear, then that is our motion. I need a second to the motion.
Can you add one more thing?
Oh,
A report back annually on our conditions
A report from the business owner?
vendor?
from the organization.
Okay, so I'm gonna, assuming that this motion carries, this will be part of the recommendation that goes to the Board of
Yeah.
Supervisors. And then just so you all understand, the county has the ability to request or recommend the imposition of conditions, but it's ultimately up to the state ABC. So
That's
so-
fine. And I think it's good that, I mean, they can see that we've had a lot of thought and discussion about this matter, so. Mary, I'm going to ask you to restate the motion. You don't need to go into all the conditions, but it's your motion, please.
Okay, so how do I say this again? Sorry, I'm new.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. That I make the motion.
Okay. I make the motion
To support the, council support the recommendation
for the council to support the recommendation,
with the following
conditions.
And we have those in writing from
and we have
Melissa.
the 5 conditions that we have in writing that Melissa wrote.
Is there a second to the motion? Okay, we have a second from Diane. Okay. Any further discussion? Oh, my God. We have a second to the motion. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
And one abstention. All right, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
going through with us on this.
Oh, sure,
And you can
absolutely.
see
Thank you.
We're very passionate about, businesses coming in, and we want to check you guys out, and thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks
we're
for the
gonna move
opportunity.
So next on the agenda is supervisor's report. Ooh, that was a hard one.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Thanks, man.
It's a hard one.
No, I
Thank
had
you,
to-
Melissa.
I had this thing.
Yeah.
Good. That's what it.
Good evening, council. So I'm just going to make a couple of quick reports. So as you know, this Saturday is the annual North Fair Oaks Community Cleanup. It's going to go from 9 to noon. There's going to be lunch afterwards. And so basically, it's an annual event, which the council participates, as well as all the neighborhoods, everyone who's involved in North Fair Oaks. It's basically cleaning up all the areas of North Fair Oaks. So we're going to meet here at the Fair Oaks Community Center. And then council, if you can actually be there at 8:30, so that way we can help us with the setup and so forth. So it's this Saturday, and then we look forward to seeing the council, as well as anybody, the volunteers, on Saturday. And then just one last thing as well. Next Saturday is the bicycle rodeo on June 6th. Thank you to Councilmember Raphael, who has been kind of the leader in organizing this event. So basically promoting bike safety. There's also going to be some raffles, and then just basically just an opportunity for the kids to kind of learn how to build bikes, bikes repairs as well, and then also learn how to kind of maneuver and how to ride a bike safely in San Mateo County. And then just FYI for the council, Everardo Rodriguez is going to be the keynote speaker for the bicycle rodeo next Saturday. So, so that's going to be from 10. It's also going to be here at the Fair Oaks Community Center. And then last but not least, I just wanted to let you know, so there's been conversations basically in conjunction with NFL Forward and the Parks Department called Reimagine Flood Park. And basically, San Mateo County Parks wants to hear from everyone on how they want to utilize Flood Park. And so basically, they're going to be setting up a community meeting here at the Fair Oaks Community Center. So that's going to be on Tuesday, June 23rd, from 6:30 to 8:30 here at the Fair Oaks Community Center. And then for more information, you can visit the San Mateo County Parks website at www.smcoparks.org, or you can call their number at 650-363-4020. And that is all I have to report tonight, and I'll be happy to answer any more questions.
You were talking fast. Thank you. Any questions for Irving? No. Thank you so much, Irving.
Yeah.
Okay, code enforcement is not here tonight. There is no report. Something happened to Anna, and I believe we're going to put that on for next month, correct? Office of Sustainability. Andrea, we have, are you going to just show the flyer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll walk you through it.
We only have a few minutes on.
We'll do it. We'll do it quick.
Thank you.
So hi, everyone. My name is Andrea Chow. I'm from the Sustainability Office with the County of San Mateo. I can just whip through my first updates and highlights. Irving already mentioned the bike rodeo. We'll be supporting that event. We're also going to be piloting Adopt-A-Block, which you heard about last time, and I'll be talking about Adopt-A-Block on Saturday at the cleanup event. And I also wanted to note that Community Choice Energy is moving forward with a feasibility study, and so you can hear more about that too at the next meeting in June. And I wanted to talk mostly about an update on See-Click Fix, or Report It SMC as we've branded. So Ellie, if you could move to the third slide, we'll just jump into it. Report It SMC, it's a tool, a reporting tool that comes on your phone, or you can access it online, and it empowers residents to report non-emergency issues. As I've presented before, we're using Report It SMC in North Fair Oaks to address illegal dumping issues. And so we're officially launching this on Saturday at the cleanup event. On the screen, you see the app on the phone. It's for free, and you can get it from the Google Play and App Stores, so you should feel free to download that tonight. And you can also check it out online. You can access it from the North Fair Oaks Forward website if you look under Community. And I'm just going to run through how to use it. It's really simple. So step one, it's all about locating the issue. So if you're on your phone and you have your location services on, it'll drop a pin right where you are. If you're reporting it later on your phone, you can move that pin around and go to exactly where you found the issue. Or if you're at home and you want to report an issue you saw earlier, you can just type in an address or an intersection. The next step is selecting the type of issue. Again, we're addressing illegal dumping, and so we have 3 categories of illegal dumping to make it simple for the workflow process and the public work side, and also just to gain more information about the issue so it's resolved quickly. And so those categories are whether the dumping issue is in the road, whether it's on a private property, or whether it's on the sidewalk, or if there's not a sidewalk, whether it's outside of the roadway. And so those are our 3 issues, and you select them on your phone or, again, from home. And then step 3 is simply adding a description. And so there are some required questions just to gain more information about the issue. And so you can describe whether or not it's a mattress or whether it's bags of things. And actually, it's step 4, if you want to, is including an image, a photo you take on your phone, or a video even. And that's it. And those are the 4 steps to reporting an issue.
Is it in Spanish?
So if your phone language settings are set in Spanish, the language settings for the app. Right. So that'll automatically download in Spanish.
And how anonymous is it?
So you can put your name or a username, or you can select anonymous. Because the app wants to be able to notify you that your issue's been addressed, you do put an email address in so that you receive those notifications, but the county or whoever's responding doesn't see that information, and that's not public.
Oh, just Google sees it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the system sees it. Great. And so that's all I have for you today. So I'm happy.
So this launches on
Saturday. So I'll be there, and I'm really excited to talk about this, and so I hope everyone talks about this with their friends.
But it's ready today.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So we've been in testing phase. So there's staff who've been answering reports.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now
Thank you.
Good. All right.
Okay, NFO forward.
All
We have a recommendation, let's see, are you going to do your report and then the recommendation?
So I just wanted to, I will only be going through the action item, but I did want to draw your attention to the written report that we distributed, just to remind you all of the work that's going on. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them, or feel free to contact me after. But I just, on page 2 of the report, you'll see that we do have a recommendation to approve the recommendation that the North Fair Oaks Public Art Work Group is proposing for mural designs on 3 county-owned utility boxes. So back in April, the county released a call for artists for 3 county-owned utility boxes, which are pictured in the map. Next slide. There you go. 2 are on Middlefield Road, and there's 1 on 5th Avenue and Semicircular. A total of 4 applications were received with 8 different designs. And after the work group reviewed the designs based on artistic excellence and innovation and originality, experience to complete the project within the time frame, incorporation of local youth and student artists, as well as preference given to those local artists, the work group made a recommendation for the 2 designs that are within your packet. And they're actually both done by the same artist, who is a student at De Anza College studying art with plans to transfer to San Diego State University. The artist is a resident of Redwood City and is familiar with the North Fair Oaks community because he has a lot of friends that live here. But if you can go to the next slide there. So this green leafy design, I can also pass the originals around for you to look at. The green leafy design, or that you're seeing here, vegetation with a kind of an image of the bay and the city. The city was the work group recommends this design for 2 locations, both on Middlefield Road. The first one here is in front of Garfield, like by
8th Avenue.
On 8th Avenue and Middlefield Road, correct. And then the second box, they also recommended the same design at 5th Avenue and Middlefield Road. They felt that there's a lack of greenery along Middlefield Road, and they thought that this would bring more green and vegetation to the area. And for the second design that was by the same artist, they recommended this design be implemented on, click next. On the box that is just before you go under the underpass on 5th Avenue. So it would be where Semicircular meets 5th Avenue. And so that's the recommendation from the Public Art Work Group. And so we're asking for the council to make a motion in regards to this action item.
And can I just add that the work group had a lot of discussion, because there were other art pieces, but it looks so nice up there on the screen. They're so colorful, so we want to bring color and art, and I love them. I think they're great.
The artwork, it's beautiful, but I just have a question. Why would you have 2 of the same art designs on 2 boxes instead of having just something different?
So that was something that the work group, some did want that on both of them. The majority preferred the greenery on both of them. I think based on what the applications that were received, they felt that these were the most fitting for North Fair Oaks for the community. I think one option could be, to request an additional design from this same artist, if you would prefer to have 3 different boxes.
I would think that for the sake of originality, it would be nice if we had 3 works from the same artist rather than 2 of the same. But I'm not sure.
That's true. Yeah, it was each applicant submitted, I believe, 3, correct?
Up to 3
Yeah,
designs.
up to 3. And the group went back and forth on this, trying to, figure out which ones. Because I think that was the intention, was to have 3 designs for 3 boxes, but couldn't reach an agreement on the third one, so someone said, oh, let's just do that one. Let's do the same design, and, anyway, so that's how it turned out, but, yeah. And, it's 3 boxes. I don't know how many more we're going to have, but this is just the first project, so, going forward, there's going to be mural projects and such, but I think it's a good start. So, did you want, are you going to do anything else from your report, or you want us to go ahead and proceed?
Due to time, I was just going to leave the rest of it for you to read.
Okay.
Are you required?
So yes, this evening we are asking for you to take action on the recommendation regarding the 3 painted proposed
And
murals.
The recommendation is what Ellie's just presented. So any public comment? Yes. Can you please introduce yourself? Yeah. I know who you are, but I would introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi everyone. My name is Ana Angel Avendaño, and I work with youth as well, doing filmmaking, and we actually also are involved in doing a mural. But I was going to suggest that if you decide to have the artist do a third art, to maybe incorporate some of the youth to work with the artist, since it's only one artist, right? Correct. So just to suggest that maybe that he or she can involve young people in the design of the third, just as an idea.
Yeah, I think we were hoping that Sienna was going to get in on that, but I think there was that timeline came and went, but there's a lot of artists at the Sienna Center. So that's up to the council. Do you want to go with the recommendation of having the 3, or do you want to approve the recommendation for 2 of them and have a third one worked on? Timeline, can someone tell me what the timeline is on this?
Yeah, so as soon as we receive approval from your council, we'll be able to move forward with the artist, and we expect the boxes to be completed within 2 months.
Okay. So if the council were to go with that second recommendation to look at the third piece of art and maybe collaborating with Sienna Center Youth, that would just throw us off by 1 month, right?
Well, so it would, for the 2, if you choose to move forward with these 2 designs on 2 boxes, we would be able to move forward with those 2 boxes, and then we could continue exploring for the third box.
Okay.
So it would delay the timeline just for 1 box.
Okay. So the only problem is the 3 locations, or the designs have already been designated for specific locations. So we would have to take one of the locations off the list.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I would support that. If we go in that direction, we not have the utility box in front of Garfield School painted and leave that one open for a new design.
The one that's number 3?
Well, no, it's 8th and Middlefield,
It's
right
number
between the
3.
school and 8th Avenue. Then there's the underpass right at 5th and Semicircular, and then right in front of Rincon Tarasco on the corner of 5th and Middlefield.
So which one's 8th and then?
It's that one.
That's the one.
Yeah, only because it's near the school.
That's the one I have that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, oh boy.
You can put her near William.
I like all 3. I think all 3.
I mean, I'm just saying.
With 2 being
Well,
safe.
let's see, I mean, does council want to make a motion?
I'll motion
See
that
how
we
you go here?
approve the recommendations of North Fair Oaks Public Art Work Group for mural designs on the 3 county-owned utility boxes.
Okay. Is there a second to the motion?
So is that keeping both the two of the same?
The
Is that what we're saying?
recommendation
The
is what
recommendation.
she's presented, yes.
Yeah.
3
it's just saying.
locations, the 2 designs. Is there a second to the motion?
Do we not have to add what we just said?
No, that, we have this motion. If it doesn't carry, then
Can
we'll do a different
withdraw my
one.
motion,
Okay.
and you can
Right.
re-motion if you want. I think, a working group already went through this. I'm happy to support their recommendation.
I would just like to see diversity. I mean, this is what North Fair Oaks is all about. And just to see, I mean, when you go to San Francisco and you see the murals and you just see different ones, just to keep seeing repetitive ones, it kind of takes kind of like the fun out of it. So it's like to see 2 of the same, it's like, okay, I already saw that one. I want to be inspired by something else, a third one.
People kind of mention that, but the locations are far apart enough that what you see on the corner of 5th and Middlefield, it's far enough away from 8th and Middlefield. And it's not really 8th and Middlefield, it's more like right in front of the green bush. Do you know, right across from Garfield? Right there on where it goes into a V. So it's not really on Middlefield, it's more to me on Semicircular. But anyway, that did come up.
Yeah, I think that's still kind of close
Sounds
by.
like we have
1
more
and 3.
discussion on this.
I have a question. There are other utility boxes that in the future could be decorated differently. Is that correct?
So, to my knowledge, these are the 3 county-owned utility boxes that exist in North Fair Oaks. There is an opportunity to paint on utility boxes that are owned by utility companies, but that would require further research in terms of the possibility of creating an agreement with the utility company.
Okay. Well, I would second the motion to go forward with the recommendation, to approve the recommendation of the committee that worked on this, that you've presented.
I just, one of my thoughts is, it's beautiful we're putting art, but we got to start strong. You can't start with like 2 of the same. You got to, we're going to have a mural walk one day, and I think that in respect to an artist, they have so much in their belt that they can add to our community. And if our kids one day design something where we have a mural walk in our community, they're going to say, oh, wait, we already saw this one. And if they see a different picture, they see a different vision, and they see a different mission in the art. That's why when I look at art, it's beautiful. And it's more than just, oh, I see the same thing. You see different things in different pieces. And that's just my piece behind it.
And the other thing is that I think is now that the idea has been proposed of involving some of the youth in the creation of the art, I think it's also a very nice way to ground some of the youth and to give them pride on their own community if they ever get involved. So I think that's a nice thing.
So legally, I can withdraw my motion?
Well, no, just, we're at the discussion stage right now. Yeah, wait, let me just, hold on a second. We have a motion. We have a motion to approve the recommendation. We have a second. We're open for any further discussion. Beatrice?
I tend to agree with Rafa. We're also establishing culture. We're also thinking about our future, our youth, and when we look long term, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, the things that we propose and accept right now have to be long lasting with the vision in mind. And I see this area developing into a culture walk. This is, we're infusing. And as an artist, I know artists have like a plethora of things that they have made, and they would love an opportunity to display it. And so I just feel that having 3 different is better, and also to involve the youth, because the more you involve our local youth, the more they will help us take care of what we put in our community. They'll be our eyes to help take care of what we put. And so.
Okay, thank you, Beatrice. Diane? Oh, I thought you were going to say something. Dale, do you want to withdraw
So my question is, can I
the...
legally withdraw my
Withdraw
motion
the
and somebody
motion?
else can?
I think you can vote on the motion on the table, and you don't have to vote for your motion, and then you
And
can
then do
move
a new-
on
and
to a
then
new
do a new
motion,
motion.
would be my
That's what I thought.
suggestion.
So there's a motion to approve the recommendation for the 2 designs in the 3 locations. We have a second on the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
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 Okay, so that motion is dead. All right. So we have, is there a new motion so we can move forward on this
Yes.
utility box project?
I motion that the council approve the recommended line item with this change to the 3rd option of the art design and the same artist, including youth, within the piece.
I second the motion.
Which box?
3rd utility box in William and, what's the other street, Ellie? I can't see that far.
Semicircular and Fifth?
Oh, the underpass?
William Avenue.
So this is where.
That's the underpass.
Well, I just see William Avenue, I'm sorry.
The flower design goes.
Oh, okay, so,
These 2 are the same.
oh, okay, thank you. Beatrice, the one near the school?
Okay,
The one near the school.
okay, so move number 2, get rid of number 3.
Get rid of number 1.
Okay, excuse me.
school.
Right, correct.
The new design on number 3.
Okay, so the motion is that you accept the recommendation using 2 designs at 5th and Middlefield and 2nd and 5th and Semicircular. Leave those. And the 3rd design located in front of the Garfield will be the one that is going to be worked on to get some youth artists involved. So it's a part, so your motion approves part of the recommendation, but not the whole thing. Is that clear with people?
Yes.
Clear, but I think it's a little difficult to insist that an artist work with other artists. I mean, I'm not sure what you're asking here exactly, because it is a youth. The artist is a student. And you're saying that this artist ought to be required to work with other people. I mean, I like the sentiment. I'm just wondering if it's practical to.
Perhaps it's a suggest.
A suggestion, yeah.
Suggests that he works with them.
And I would also like to see that leafy one on number 3. I would support it if you.
Is there a second to Raphael's motion?
I second the motion.
All right. Is everyone clear about the motion?
Can I just confirm, so you're requesting a 3rd design from the same artist and suggesting that youth,
That artists collaborate, suggest that he or she collaborate with youth artists, coming up with a 3rd option.
Got it.
For, well, the
3rd
motion
location.
says Garfield.
Yes.
I just have a quick question. Do you have any forms of information I can give to students tomorrow? I know a lot of.
For this project, I don't currently with me, but I could put something together.
Like, can you just send it in an email so I can show it?
Diane, let's finish the motion, please.
Oh,
And then
sorry.
you can always get that after. So we have a motion and we have a second on the floor. If there's no further discussion, all of those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the motion? No. Any abstentions? No. Okay, the motion carries. Is that clear, Ellie?
Yeah,
to you?
that's
Okay.
clear.
All right, sorry for the.
Yeah, no problem.
All of that.
Thank you for your input.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And then I guess, Diane, you can get some information from Ellie that you want, okay? All right. Is there, the last thing on the agenda are council reports. And, Jose's name is still on there, but he's gone, right? Jose?
Ideally, technically, it would probably be October, but yeah, he has until October. But we're gonna be looking for like a new youth member since he, I think, graduates.
He's going to Chico, right?
Yeah, he graduates next Friday. So
Okay.
yeah, so I made an announcement. So we're in the process of recruiting.
Okay, thank you, Irving. Diane, did you have something to report?
Oh, yeah. So the North Fork Youth Initiative, we're going to have our celebration on June 13th from 5 to 7:30, and it's open to everybody. It's going to be here at the First Community Center. And going back to Sequoia High School's graduation, it's going to be from 10, I believe, to 12. And if you guys want to come support our graduates, our avid graduates, and our cheer team, we're going to be having a fundraiser selling, what's it called? Like the little... Lays? Yeah, Lays. If you want to come support our team. So, yeah.
Okay.
Hope to see you there.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you. Council members, any other reports?
On next Wednesday, June 3rd, we're going to have an unveiling of a moving mural at Siena Youth Center that's going to be exhibited by New Voices for Youth, our digital storytelling class, as well as the mural being unveiled. We'll also have a documentary of how these youth came up with the piece. And it's going to be awesome. So if you're available at 6 o'clock, it's in the evening, Siena Youth Center, right behind Target, can't miss it. You're welcome to join. Also next Saturday, as you all know, the bike rodeo. You're all welcome to come. It's going to be an awesome event. We got partners coming from Mid-Peninsula Open Space all the way to Caron. Sheriffs are going to be there, and Ever's going to speak, and we're going to give away 5 bikes. So just come out. Yeah, we built 5 bikes for these kids at our bike shop, and we're excited to give them away. And Revo Lights has donated a $300 set of lights for these kids to actually use on a bike. So it's going to be really nice.
All right.
Great.
Yes, Beatrice.
I attended the San Mateo, what was it? From the email you sent, it was open to all San Mateo County that talked about the new plan, vision, transportation that.
Oh, that big meeting.
Yeah, the big. It was, I had never been to one of those, but I went.
The regional.
There you go. Love the cookies. But I also, it was an opportunity to engage with other people in the county, other residents of the county in different areas, and you basically kind of went from table to table. They had the displays, and it was just looking at the different models and ideas of future the future movement of transportation, the rail, the buses, the biking, and all that has been going on county-wise. And I got into very interesting discussions with, as I was going from table to table, just discussing common themes that we have talked about in our meetings, in our community meetings, with different residences, different residents in different areas in the county, and we share much of the same concerns. So I found that very interesting, that we tend to think that things are only North Fair Oaks, when in reality, there's pockets all over the county who are definitely feeling the anxiety, the pressures in their own neighborhoods over these same things that keep coming up over and over. Yes. Sorry about that.
Good. I'm glad you were able to go. That it gives you a better perspective.
Yeah.
When you come back into your community, you can understand the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Any other comments or reports from council? No? Thank you, council, for being patient. We had a lot of unique motions developed tonight and some really important issues that we really had to look at. So thank you for your participation. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed? No. Thank you very much for staying after the hour. Good night.
Good job, guys.